Good afternoon, everyone. We're just going to wait for the rest of the folks in the queue to get online with us, and then we'll get started. Okay. Thank you all for joining today. You are joining the RiverWoods Exeter 101 webinar. This is our monthly presentation on everything you would want to know to make a decision about whether you might want to come visit us. My name is Lisa Clark. I'm sales manager here at the RiverWoods Exeter community. I'm joined by Chrissy Cady, our sales counselor. And between the two of us, it's really our job to help get you educated on RiverWoods Exeter, inform you about what a continuing care retirement community is if you're new to all of this, and help you decide if this might be a place that you might want to consider living someday. A few housekeeping items first. Everyone is on mute, but we do welcome your questions, and there will be an opportunity for that at the very end of the presentation. You will have the opportunity to submit your questions at the Q&A box, which is at the bottom of your screen. If you're on a tablet, it may be at the side or even the top of your screen. But I would suggest that you hold off on submitting any questions until the very end, because we're going to be reviewing quite a bit of information. And chances are we will have answered your questions by the time we get to the end. We do welcome your suggestions on how we can improve these presentations. And if you have an idea for a future topic that you think would be of interest to you and others in similar situations, please let us know. We're always looking for ways that we can continue to deliver interesting and informative information to aging adults. So we like to always start with a little bit about our beginnings of RiverWoods. RiverWoods was the original dream created around the kitchen tables of these two women, whose names are Mariana Hatch, who lived in Durham, and Rosemary Coffin, who lived in Exeter. They began planning for RiverWoods in the early 1980s with the goal of building a community where they could make new friends, get involved in causes that they cared about, and stop worrying about their future healthcare needs. So they created RiverWoods Exeter, which opened in 1994. And eventually, more than 35 years later, after their first meeting, Mariana's dream was realized in Durham with the opening of RiverWoods Durham in November 2019. So, what began as a dream of a small group of New Hampshire residents who wanted to create a better way to improve the experience of aging for others has now taken off and become a family of three not-for-profit communities, each with the same mission, which is to improve the experience of aging. All three of the RiverWoods communities share the same values and are advised by a volunteer board of directors that's focused on operations. So the RiverWoods Group is our supportive organization that provides professional fee-based services such as human resources, marketing, information technology, finance, and quality. And the RiverWoods Group also will fund any at-risk projects within the communities, as well as new ventures. However, each of the three RiverWoods communities in Manchester, Durham, and Exeter are financially independent of one another. And a portion of the entry fees from all three communities do go towards offsetting the cost of the RiverWoods Group parent organization. The RiverWoods Group is advised by a volunteer board of directors, and they are focused on mission and growth. So let's drill down into RiverWoods Exeter, which is what Chrissy's and my roles are. RiverWoods Exeter is the original community and is comprised of three campuses. They are all located within our 200 acres of land here in Exeter, and each campus has all the necessary amenities that you would need, such as dining rooms, fitness areas, art studios, libraries, as well as community gathering spaces. But we do encourage residents to mix and mingle across these three campuses and explore each other's dining rooms and fitness areas and so forth. The Woods was the original campus in Exeter, which opened in 1994. It has 201 apartments. The Ridge was opened 10 years later in 2004, and we have 81 apartments at the Ridge and 11 cottages. And then in 2010, we opened the Boulders, and the Boulders has 75 apartments and 24 cottages. Now, it's important to note when you're looking at continuing care retirement communities, known by the acronym of CCRC, whether they're accredited or not. And we are accredited by an organization known as CARF International. And CARF stands for the Commission for the Accreditation of Rehabilitation Facilities. It is a nonprofit accreditor of health and human services worldwide. However, only about 10% of continuing care retirement communities are actually accredited. RiverWoods Exeter was among the earliest to receive this accreditation in 1999. And as recently as 2024, we were reaccredited for the next 5 years. If you'd like to learn more about CARF, you can visit their website here, which is carf.org. So let's talk about life care. You may hear these terms CCRC and life care communities used interchangeably. And life care community is actually a long-term care insurance product where you would pay an entry fee. And in our case, the entry fee, 90% of that is refunded back to your estate upon your death, or if you were to choose to move out. So it does serve as a form of estate preservation. In addition to the entry fee, you will pay monthly fees, which in our case are predictable because we have what's known as a Type A contract. And a Type A contract within a continuing care retirement community means that you have unlimited access to assisted living and nursing care for life with no change in fee if you were to move from one level to another. Now, I want to, underscore the fact that we do have annual price adjustments, but what this means is with a Type A community, whether you're living in independent living or assisted living or memory care, your monthly fee remains the same regardless of the level of care that you're receiving. So it does serve as reassurance that you have some predictable expense in living here. We provide quite a great continuum of care here at RiverWoods. We are resourced to support not only your care when you're living independently, but also your future care. Each of our three campuses within Exeter has a wellness clinic that serves our independent residents. And within those wellness clinics, they are staffed by a nurse practitioner as well as an RN. They are offering services like blood pressure checks, wound care, flu vaccines, lab work. They can help with medication management. And they also are open in the morning hours for a walk-in clinic. So if you're not feeling well, you can stop in and see the nurse practitioner. And those visits are covered by your monthly service fee. In addition, we have specialists that visit each of our three campuses. We have specialists coming in for dermatology, audiology, hearing and balance, podiatry, and we also run a foot care clinic. So there's a lot of access to specialists without ever having to leave the RiverWoods Exeter campus. Beyond that, we have assisted living apartments that can accommodate either singles or couples. And if you need an even greater level of care, we offer enhanced assisted living, which is 24/7 nursing care for long-term memory support and nursing. And those are all private suites in the enhanced assisted living area. Additionally, we can offer respite care to you. So if you just need a temporary stay, perhaps you're recovering from surgery or you've had a bad bout of the flu, you can come into our healthcare lodge and receive respite care on a temporary basis. So all this adds up to really giving peace of mind, not only to you, but also to your family, in that there's one organization that's really accountable for your care journey. So, diving a little bit deeper into our healthcare resources here, our medical leadership is provided by our medical director, Dr. Lauren Damaris. Dr. Damaris is actually a contracted physician through a company known as Vantage Healthcare, which provides physician services to a variety of assisted living and other communities like ours. And Dr. Damaris will collaborate closely with our wellness nurse practitioners, our directors of nursing, as well as our quality department. In addition, in the Seacoast community, we have good proximity to several area hospitals. Exeter Hospital is just a few miles down the road. It's where a lot of our residents may receive emergency treatment or possibly have procedures done there. We also have Portsmouth Regional Hospital, which is about 25 minutes up the road. We also have Wentworth Douglas Hospital up in Dover, New Hampshire, about a 30-minute drive from us. Wentworth Douglas Hospital is affiliated with Mass General network. And then we're about an hour to the Boston area hospitals. So you have a good network of acute care facilities within the region. So all of this adds up to being a smart financial decision for you in that your monthly fee, monthly service fee remains the same here, regardless of what level of care you're receiving, as I mentioned earlier. If you do move into assisted living or enhanced assisted living, you will have an additional fee for 2 more meals a day, but that would be the only additional fee there for being in the community. And then there may be some out-of-pocket expenses for walkers and things like that that may not be covered by your health insurance. We're going through a bit of an evolution of healthcare here, and some of you may have heard about this. If you live in the local media market, you may have heard some coverage on what our plans are. Today, and how we originally built the RiverWoods Exeter community, we have 3 healthcare lodges, one at each campus of our 3 campuses here, and each one having apartments for assisted living, long-term care suites, and memory support. And then our Ridge campus has short-term rehab services. But we've had a lot of challenges with this model as the healthcare landscape has changed. There's a lot of inefficiencies with staffing 3 small healthcare centers like this. We have limited amenities within each of the 3 centers. And we're starting to now run into some limits in terms of updating our technology because the buildings are quite dated, particularly at our Woods campus. So we have made a decision to go in a different direction than what was originally envisioned for RiverWoods. We are going to be centralizing our 3 healthcare lodges into one new single hub with the goal of really streamlining our clinical operations and improving our care coordination and enhance our residents' access to services. The timeline is still to be determined. So we're working on the building plan and working with the town on getting approval to build the new lodge. But we're confident that this will happen and it'll be a really beautiful new building. So we are pleased to announce that we have recently been selected as the Best of New Hampshire assisted living community and the Best of New Hampshire retirement community. That was just announced within the last couple weeks. Very proud to receive that award. And then also we are rated by Medicaid as a five-star rated community for skilled nursing services. So should feel confident in considering Riverwoods as a possible future home because we can deliver you excellent quality health care. Let's talk a little bit about the services and the amenities that are covered by your monthly service fee. We have a very flexible dining program, which I'll talk a little bit more about on the next slide. Your monthly fees will cover your access to our fitness centers and our indoor pools at each of our three campuses. Your fees will cover access to our entertainment and cultural opportunities. We have a very broad variety of entertainment that we bring into the campus. Chrissy's going to talk about that in a little bit. And we have a wonderful courtesy transportation team that can get you to medical appointments, to the grocery, the bank, and other places that you need to get to because eventually most people stop driving at some point, but you still need to get to all these places. So we make sure that our transportation team gets you where you need to go. Your monthly fee will also cover housekeeping every 2 weeks. They come in and clean your apartment. And on a weekly basis, they're laundering your flat linen, so your sheets and your towels. Again, all covered by your monthly service fee. We take care of all the maintenance, both inside and outside your home. So if something breaks or falls apart or stops working, you don't need to be responsible for that. We'll take care of it with our maintenance team. Your monthly fees also cover your utilities, so your heating, air conditioning, water, electricity. The only additional fees would be for cable TV, internet, and local phone, and we can deliver all three of those services to you for less than $75 a month. Your monthly fee also covers access to the wellness clinics that I spoke about earlier. And finally, we provide 24-hour security and emergency response. So we have emergency response systems built into our apartments and our cottages, and we have 24-hour security on site. So you can rest assured you will have peace of mind about your safety here at RiverWoods. So let's talk a little bit more about dining because that's such an important part of the social experience at any community. The way our dining program is fashioned is that your monthly fee will include a pool of dining points that can be used for meals in the dining room or on a takeout basis, as well as guest meals. And it also covers items in our RiverWoods Marketplace, which is like a perishable grocery area. You can dine at restaurants at any of our three campuses, and we work to be sensitive to your dietary preferences and restrictions, including vegetarian choices and items that are gluten-friendly, as well as dairy-free. We source as much as we possibly can through the network of New Hampshire farmers, which includes our fishermen. So we try to make sure that everything is as local and as fresh as possible. I mentioned the monthly bank of dining points. It's intended to cover one robust meal a day, but everything has an a la carte point value. But basically, you get enough points to cover a 5-course meal each day. And if you come and see us, we can answer more questions, more specifics about the dining plan. This is a picture of one of our dining rooms at the Boulders campus. And this space is actually going through a transformation right now. We are in the process of updating our Boulders campus. It's every 15 years, we do a cosmetic refresh on all of our community spaces. So this room will look a bit different by the end of this year as it's undergoing a total transformation of interiors. This is a more recently updated space at our Ridge campus. We updated our Ridge campus about 2 years ago. You're looking at the bistro, which is a more casual dining space. And then in the background of this is the entry to our dining room, which is more the space where evening service, meal service takes place. And this is our country store at the Woods campus. So each of the three campuses has a little store that would have dry goods. The one at the Woods campus, because the Woods campus is the largest, is the most well stocked. But basically, it's intended to have pantry staples and toiletries, as well as a selection of greeting cards and small gifts. So it provides quite a convenience for our residents. Everything in this country store is run by residents. So they do the purchasing and the stocking and the staffing of the store. Everything is purchased at Market Basket and priced accordingly. For those of you who don't know what Market Basket is, that is one of our local grocery store chains in the area. I'm going to turn it over to Chrissy now, and she can talk to you more about really what there is to do here day to day, as well as she'll be walking through some of our apartment and cottage interiors and giving you a peek as to what those look like.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you all for joining us on a Monday afternoon. The picture you're looking at here is one of our residents and her dog, Belle. So as you can see, we are dog friendly, but all of our pets are very respectful as well. But it is fun to see some of our furry friends walking around the community and coming to the front desk for treats. As Lisa mentioned, I'm going to be walking you through some of the many activities we do here, as well as the apartment styles. This picture you're looking at right now is of Boulders Hall, our largest gathering space. And as Lisa mentioned, this will soon undergo some transformation as well. They will keep a lot of the same footprint. They'll continue to have the raised stage that's very popular there. It will seat up to 200 people theater style, and it will be undergoing a renovation as well as part of our new at 15 over at the Boulders. There are two other large gathering spaces, one at the Woods, which is our Great Bay Room, and that seats up to about 120 people theater style. And then our Ridge Room, which is also a large gathering space for duplicate bridge and a variety of smaller programs and committee meetings. But you will be able to see on your biweekly calendar the list of all the many events and where they're located, which leads us to talk about our educational enrichment here and our education committee. They are a very active committee that will produce or plan in-person lectures and presentations, virtual classes through Zoom. They prepare the great courses in the three different campuses here via RiverWoods TV, and also a lot of our cultural outings that are out of our community. Their mission is and the committee itself is an all-campus committee, and their mission is to provide enrichment and opportunities to all of our residents through all the different educational programs and lectures, catering to a variety of different interests. And of course, they use inside speakers, some of our own residents, and outside speakers as well. And as I mentioned, the committee is resident run, so they do meet regularly to discuss the different opportunities for lectures. So if there are interests that they find residents have, they will cater to those interests and work in collaboration with our community life staff to schedule all the space on campus. Here are some of our samples of the different events we've had here. This band, the Common Ground Band, happens to have a member of one of our staff members at the front desk. So residents are always interested in knowing what the variety of staff members out here do outside of work. And so they love to have singers and performers and anyone who has an interesting hobby to come in and present. So that was on Sunday, March 1st. We also work in conjunction with different groups like the Mass Audubon. So we had a speaker come in to talk about the hidden world of beavers. And then as far as musical experiences here, we can do some off-site events. Phillips Exeter is right down the street and wonderful resource for us for musical opportunities. And they always invite us to all of their different concerts, which are wonderful. And from what I've heard from residents, they sound like professional musicians. And then, of course, the Met in the Newington movie theater, you would get transportation to those, and there's a list of those as well. Our libraries are also a wonderful place to educate yourself, and there are three of them, one at each campus. This one is at the Ridge, which was newly renovated a couple of years ago. The nice thing about our libraries, they're interconnected through an online electronic card catalog. So if you can't find a book in one location, you can generally find it in one of the others. And also, as a resident of the town of Exeter, you also have the benefit of our wonderful Exeter Town Library, which has a lot of other events and presentations there as well. So moving on from educating your mind to working on your activities and fitness. Each one of our campuses has an indoor pool and hot tub, all fully equipped fitness rooms and fitness classrooms. So whatever your interests are, we have them, and if we don't have them yet, we can always add them. So it's very easy to stay active here. The next slide, you'll see one of our pools. This is the Boulders pool, which is a nice long lap pool, up to 20 yards long, great for swimming laps. But we also have wonderful exercise classes in the pool. We have just added an aqua Zumba and aqua aerobics. We have a resident run aqua volleyball class that happens every Wednesday afternoon. And we do try to keep our pools between the temperature between 84 to 88 degrees. We don't want it to be too warm for our swimmers, but we want it warm enough for our class goers. And then, of course, we have our cardio room. So you can either work out on your own if you don't like to do classes. You could hire one of our team members, fitness team members, for additional personal training at an additional cost. But it's a great place for you to just get 30 minutes of your cardio in. And then, of course, we have our friendly pickleball players here. We do have two outdoor courts. So now that the weather's starting to get nicer, they're raring to go and can't wait to get outside to play pickleball. This group is always very welcoming, and whether you're an avid pickleball player or somebody who would like to learn how, you are always welcome there, and they can't wait to get started this spring. Now we can look at your artistic side. So I know there are a lot of artists out there. We have a number of art studios throughout the three different campuses. And so you can see here one of the gentlemen from the Woods campus who hadn't painted in years. He had been busy with life and work. When he moved in here, he was very inspired by some of our other artists here and decided he was going to start working on his craft. So you'll often see him in the Pinkham Art Studio working on his watercolors. If you go to the next slide, you can see where he works. This is a very popular place for our painters because of the natural light that comes through those different doors there. And as you're looking at this picture, you can already see the variety of things people do in there. In the foreground, there's one of our Nantucket baskets. So we have residents who teach Nantucket basket weaving. There are lots of different molds and shapes and sizes of baskets that you can prepare. And usually our new residents always want to try to at least learn how to make one basket. It's always a fun activity. And then moving on to our woodworkers. Usually when I'm doing tours in the morning, there's at least one of them in there working on their wonderful woodworking projects, from making signs for our trails, our canoeing paddles, cutting boards, furniture, shelving units, you name it. They're very talented woodworkers there. And then our musicians. I know I say this every time, but we have quite a few different opportunities out there, singing groups, musical groups. Our chorus is always looking for men. If you're a man and love to sing, they need basses and tenors. But we also have a women's barbershop quartet, a string quartet, a ukulele group, some wonderful pianists. All of them play throughout different events we have here. So everybody here at the at RiverWoods Exeter gets the benefit of this musical talent. And then I'm sure you gardeners out there are really starting to get excited about the spring and summer. I'm already seeing some sprouts coming out of the ground. We're just starting to see daffodils peeking through the ground. And I will mention that last fall, residents and staff here at RiverWoods planted a bunch of bulbs around the community. And so we've all been excited about springtime to see where they're coming up and how they look. But if you're worried that as a gardener, you're not going to have the opportunities here, I'm here to allay your fears. We have raised garden beds throughout all three campuses that you can reserve in the spring and plant vegetables and flowers throughout the season. We have a very active gardening committee that works right alongside our landscaping team to produce some beautiful gardens in our entryways. And first floor apartments do have spaces where you can actually create some of your own gardens as long as you maintain them on your own. We also are known to be one of New Hampshire's largest arboretum with over 300 species of trees and shrubs. So now we're going to be moving on to some of our apartment styles. You're looking here at one of our cottages, the outside of one of our cottages. But we have over 40 different floor plans here. So there's something for everyone. And, from smaller to larger across all three of our campuses here. I will point out one of our main features of our apartments are the solariums that you'll see in some of the pictures that we move along here. But they are, all of our apartments and cottages have fully equipped kitchens. They're Wi-Fi enabled. Storage areas for our apartments, quite ample storage in our cottages, 24-hour response services. And if you are in an apartment in the building, we do have guest rooms at all three campuses. So if you have out-of-town guests, you can reserve one of those. We also have additional covered parking at an additional fee for anyone who is in the apartments. So we'll start by looking at one of our large one-bedroom apartments at our Woods campus called a Trillium. And you can right away see that beautiful solarium in the background, letting on all that light into the living room area. And you can also see some of the standard options that you have to choose from when we're refurbishing your apartment, including luxury vinyl flooring, some nice neutral paint colors. And if we go to the next slide, you'll see the same apartment with the kitchen view. And that, if we are changing cabinets, and that would all be dependent on the age and quality of the cabinetry, we would be replacing them with this white shaker style. You'd have choice of quartz or granite on the counters. And our standard appliances are stainless steel. This apartment you're looking at here is one of our large two bedrooms at our Ridge campus called a Magnolia. Again, you're seeing that beautiful light coming in through that large solarium and an ample size living room, dining room area. And we are opening up our kitchens in the Ridge apartments to have counter height counters, so a nice space to work in the kitchen and also ability to look out into the living room while you work. This slide I love. It's our two-bedroom over at the Boulders campus called the Cypress. And one of the reasons I love this one so much is that you can see we have a lot of our standard options for refurbishment are very neutral colors. And that enables you to really bring in your favorite pieces from your home to really make your apartment your home. So they had some really beautiful bright red chairs that they brought in to really create their home and make it feel like their home that they moved out of. And if you're a cook and you love to cook, you can see that our cottage kitchens have ample storage and ample counter spaces for working on your wonderful um, food creations. So since you've been looking into us, I'm sure that not you haven't just been looking at Riverwoods and that location. You're looking at the surrounding areas. You probably already know that we're near the downtown Exeter area. We're 5 minutes down the road. We're on 200 acres right near the Exeter River. We have easy access to both Portsmouth and Manchester, an hour from Portland and an hour from Boston. And then, of course, you have this seacoast proximity and also proximity to our mountains and lakes. So it's a great location all around in New Hampshire. And again, if you've been doing any homework, you're probably also aware that our New Hampshire tax, we have quite a few New Hampshire tax advantages, including no general sales tax, no personal income tax, no capital gains. We're one of the top ranked New England states, and we have the third lowest tax burden in the country. And so we're just going to look at this slide and go over a very kind of a wide range of pricing. If you're interested in more specifics and all of the different apartment styles, you can reach out to one of our sales counselors here, me or Lisa. This pricing sheet just kind of shows you that we have anything from a studio, which is just under 600 square feet, all the way to cottages, which can be over 2,000 square feet. And an entrance fee ranging from just under 250,000 to just over a million for the entrance fee. Monthly service fees range from 3,000, just over 3,000 to just over $9,000 a month. And I will point out that that's for first person only. So if you had two people, you would add $64,000 to the entrance fee and 2,129 to the as a second person monthly service fee. If you are wondering, you've been looking at us and this webinar has kind of inspired you to want to come in and take a tour, but you're not quite certain that it's a financial fit for you. We do have a new tool on our website called MoneyGauge. It's a quick and confidential online tool. And it can help you figure out whether it's a good financial fit for you. It's not the official financial assessment, but this would give you an idea. It's secure, it's fast, and it gives you kind of a snapshot of what you could afford here. There is a QR code here. If you have time to take a picture of that. But you can also go to moneygauge.mylifesite.net hashtag RiverWoods-group, and that would give you a good idea if you wanted to take a look at that before setting up a tour. So after all I've said and after all Lisa has talked about today, and you're thinking about getting on our wait list, I'm going to pass it back over to Lisa so she can go through the process.
Great, thanks, Chrissy. So you're looking here at a very enthusiastic group of bocce players at our Woods campus. So we have bocce courts at both the Woods campus as well as the Ridge campus. At the Woods, they have a very strict dress code of striped socks in order to play bocce, but they have a whole lot of fun doing so. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the wait list process because yes, we do have a wait list like many communities. If you've been shopping around, you're probably aware of that. Our estimated wait time for cottages and apartments is between 3 and 8 years. In general, the shortest wait times are for one-bedroom apartments, and that time frame is 3 to 5 years. Anything larger than that, including a one-bedroom plus den, two-bedroom, and cottages, we're estimating between 6 and 8 years wait time. If you were interested in applying to join our wait list, you would complete our application, which is called a confidential data profile, which would help us determine your financial qualification. And once you were approved, you would place a deposit that would be equal to 10% of the entry fee for the costliest apartment or cottage that you're interested in and qualified for. And that entry fee would be applied, that deposit would be applied to your entry fee when you move in. It would also earn 4% simple interest if you become a resident. And if you change your mind, the deposit is refundable, less a $1,500 cancellation fee. And in that case, we do not pay the 4% interest. We pay 0.25% interest if you decide to leave our wait list. We have a very flexible process. You really tell us when you're ready. If Chrissy or I were to call you with an apartment or cottage before you felt like you were ready, there's no penalty for saying no. So it's really a very flexible process. So Chrissy and I are going to go through a few what we call frequently asked questions. We've been doing this presentation for several years, like 5 years now. So we know what the questions are that typically come up. We're going to answer those and then we'll open it up for questions for things that we haven't covered. We do try to stay to an hour window. So if for some reason we run out of time, we'll certainly follow up with you individually to answer your questions. So, Chrissy, I'll take this first question. I have a long-term care insurance policy, and can I use this at RiverWoods Exeter? So, long-term care is actually part of the services that RiverWoods is providing to you. So, if you have a policy, it is somewhat redundant of what you're paying RiverWoods to provide. But some people do choose to keep their policies, and that's fine. If you were to do that, you would be able to file claims with your provider and get reimbursed for coverage per the terms of your policy. It really depends on how close you are to feeling like you would be moving into assisted living or needing some advanced, higher level healthcare needs. But we do have someone on staff who can review your policy with you once you've moved in and help you make a determination as to whether to keep it.
I'll take the next question, Lisa. What happens if one partner in a couple needs a higher level of care? And that is the beauty of a continuing care retirement community. Because if one needs more care than the other, one partner can still stay in your independent apartment or cottage while the other one can move into a private one bedroom assisted living apartment. And then eventually to nursing care or memory care when needed. So you'd have two different places that you're occupying, but you're still only paying that same monthly service fee. The only addition would be for 2 extra meals per day for the person living in healthcare.
So the next question is, what if I'm not ready to move when you call me about an apartment? Do I go to the bottom of the list? So this kind of gets back to what I was explaining earlier. I know if you've looked at other communities, everybody has a little bit different process. Some people have what they call a ready list. And so if you take the call, it's considered a refusal. If you say no, we do not do that here. Um, when your name is next on the wait list, Chrissy or I will call you to ask you if you're ready and interested in moving at that time. And if you're not, we simply move on to the next person on the list with no penalty to you. If you say you are interested, then we will reserve the apartment or cottage for you while you go through the final financial and medical qualification. You need to go through both of those processes before we actually show you the apartment or cottage. That's considered a formal offer. You have 3 opportunities to go through the offer process before your position would change on the wait list. Most people are accepting the first offer that they decide to pursue because they know that they're ready and they visited us enough times to know what the apartment or cottage looks like. So it's a very flexible process.
So once you are offered something and accept it, how long do I have to move in? once offered the apartment or cottage. So in general, you can expect between 60 to 90 days, 60 for apartment refurbishments, 90 for cottages. And that's from the time we offer you the apartment or cottage until it's ready for occupancy. So what we call move-in ready. At that point, on that 60th day, the entry fee would be due, and that's when your monthly service fee would begin. You don't have to physically move in at that time, but you would be considered residents and you would be paying your entrance fee at that time and start your monthly fee.
The next question is, what if I'm eager to move in, but the apartment style I want has too long of a wait time? Can I take something smaller and move later into something larger? So we really encourage people to be patient and wait until the apartment or cottage that meets your preferences becomes available. We do have an internal move policy, but it's really designed to support residents who have a medical or a financial need to move. And we do allow residents to move into something larger, but only if they're adding another resident to the apartment or cottage. Otherwise, you need to pretty much move into the size of residence that's going to suit you long term.
And then our last frequently asked question talks about our financial stability. How can I be assured that Riverwoods has is financially stable? Riverwoods it has, as you know, a 32 history of responsible growth. We now oversee three not-for-profit communities in New Hampshire. We have earned an excellent reputation in financial strength with an A- Fitch rating. And our audited financials and our budgeting philosophy can all be found on our website, Riverwoods, New Hampshire, or riverwoodsnh.org. On that same website, there's a lot of other information you can look at. In particular, there is a nice webinar that's done yearly titled Financial Risks and Rewards of Choosing a Life Plan Community. And that features our own CFO, Kevin Goyette. So I would recommend you take a look at that as well if you're really interested in learning more.
All right, so we are going to start the question and answer session now. I just want to remind folks that they can post their questions to the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. And while you're looking around for that, I do want to mention that we have a webinar coming up on May 6th called Why I Made the Leap. And this is a panel of residents talking about their experience of coming to live at RiverWoods Exeter, what motivated them to move here, and what it's been like since they've moved here. This is one of our most popular events. We do this once a year, and I think it's popular because people really like to hear from people living here about what it's really like. So that will be on May 6th from 1 to 2 o'clock. You can register on our website. If for some reason the date comes and goes and you forget to register for it, we do post the webinar to our website so you could view it anytime shortly thereafter. So we're going to go now to the question and answer session. We have, let's go to the top of the queue there. Chrissy, do you want to answer that first one?
Um, yeah, okay. So Don, which campus has the pickleball courts? How close are they to the residences on the campus? And during what hours are they open for play? Have there been any complaints? It's actually not near any one of our campuses. It's right in Gooch Park, which is kind of centrally located to all three. They play in the mornings. It is certainly not an all-day event because and they don't have lights over there, so nobody can play at night, even if neighbors come over and use the courts. But there has been no complaints because you really can't hear the noise at any of the campuses.
Yeah, we should mention the YMCA in Exeter also has pickleball courts. I think theirs are indoors, right, Chrissy?
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
there are a couple of indoor places around here that the residents like to go to in the wintertime.
great. The next question, somebody had asked us to post the QR code once again for the money gauge tool, so I've flipped back to that slide. I'll leave that up there for a little bit. And I'll take the next question. I would be leaving my orchard of heritage apple trees. Oh, wow. That's fascinating. Do you have an apple orchard of any kind? No, we do not have an apple orchard here, but we do have bees, and we produce our own honey. But I will say there are a fair number of apple orchard farms in the area. If you're not from the local area, we have several in the area. Do you want to take the next one, Chrissy?
Sure. Do you have an anticipated start date yet for the new healthcare facility? Um, we do not have a start date yet. There are some things happening, as you've probably seen from some of the news stories. So we're still in the planning stages and the approval. We did get approval from the town, but no updates yet. We will keep people updated as we get updated.
Okay, the next question is about getting onto the wait list that covers residents at the Exeter community, and wondering if they can get on a wait list that covers both Exeter and Durham communities. And the answer to that would be no. We keep separate wait lists for all three Riverwoods communities. So if you wanted to be on wait lists for both communities, you would indeed need to place two deposits, one at each community.
Let's see, the next one. Can you please characterize the main differences among the three campuses? It's really hard to characterize all of them. I can say that there are a lot of different floor plans at each. So a lot of residents or people who are looking will look at a certain campus because of the different floor plans there. I think I always say you're always going to be able to find your people wherever you are. But we definitely encourage you to come in person to take a look at the different campuses and you get your feeling. What's your feeling when you walk into the building? So that's something you can figure out yourself when you get here. And then I did see the next question talking about a download of this because it's so much information. You are all going to automatically get a recording of this program sent to your email in the next couple of days.
Yeah, and I just want to circle back, Rebecca, to your question about the difference between the three campuses. Before anyone comes to visit, Chrissy and I will do what we call sort of a discovery call with you to get to know a little bit more about you, what's important to you in a community, what size of residence you're hoping for, what your comfort is with our wait times. And that helps us really determine where to start if you were to come for a visit, because when we host tours, we do not tour all three campuses on an initial visit. But Chrissy and I, we've been doing this a long time. We're usually pretty able to figure out what might be the most appropriate fit for you. And sometimes that comes down to kind of really what are your hobbies and interests and what do you enjoy doing? And do you like a large environment? Do you like a small environment? Do you want a large apartment or do you want a cozy apartment? What are your budget considerations? So we're going to really ask you a lot of questions that will help us figure out the best place to start when you visit. So, as Chrissy said, it's hard to describe the differences. Obviously, there's some differences in sizes of apartments and architecture and so forth, but there's also some cultural differences. And that's what we try to help figure out what might be a really comfortable fit for you. So we have a question from Jeff about if we sign up for a larger apartment, can we move into a smaller one if more appropriate? The answer is yes, but we don't do it very often, Jeff. We really encourage people to think about what is the size of residence that will work for you, whether there's two people or one person in the apartment or cottage. Um, moving gets harder and harder as people age. That's what our experience has been. But we do allow people to move, but again, we really prioritize financial and medical reasons first. And it can take a few years before something actually becomes available because we have a ratio of apartments that need to be offered to people who are on our wait list externally versus existing residents. Really encourage you to think long term about the size that's going to work best for you. Do you want to take that next question from Rebecca, Chrissy?
How healthy do I need to be to move in? When we say that our nurse practitioner administers a health assessment, she really just wants to make sure that you are able to live safely in your home for yourself and within the community. So they'll do some strength and balance exercises, assessments, and also some cognitive assessments as well. She, gets to know you a little bit during that time frame. And so there really aren't any diagnoses you need to be worried about as long as you can live safely alone and within that community.
Great. We have one more question here, and then we are going to wrap it up. Do all three campuses offer water aerobic classes, and approximately how often do those classes run? Are the classes included in the monthly fee? Yes, all three campuses offer what we call AquaFit 3 days a week. And we also do, we've just introduced an Aqua Zumba class in addition to that. And then we also have water volleyball that's played every Wednesday afternoon. So there's really a variety of ways that you can get fit in the pool, in addition to, lap swimming or just coming in. And we've got lots of different equipment that you can use in the pool for resistance exercises. Our pools are open 24/7, so you can come into them any time of day or night. And all of that is covered by your monthly fee. So that is what we had to share today. If you'd like to know more, you can visit our website. But Chrissy and I will be following up with you. She and I are assigned to all of you on the webinar today, so we'll be following up with you and look forward to connecting. Really appreciate your time. As Chrissy mentioned earlier, we will be sending a recording of this webinar to you that you can view again or you can share with friends or family. And we really hope you'll come visit us. So thanks again for joining today. Have a good day.